And Congressman Torres joining me now. Good to see you, sir.
Pleasure to be here.
So, Congressman, you joined Governor Hochul at a press conference last week announcing the plan was moving forward, right? So simply put, why? Why are you such a strong supporter of congestion pricing?
Well, congestion pricing is going to save public transit in New York City, and congestion pricing will lead to less traffic congestion, less air pollution, fewer greenhouse gas emissions. It's going to fundamentally improve public health and combat climate change. And, the extreme air pollution that we've seen in New York City is a reminder that climate change is no longer an abstraction. It's a clear and present danger that requires bold action, like congestion pricing. And we're undertaking the largest effort at congestion pricing in the history of the United States. And it's a model that has worked elsewhere in the world.
Yeah.
In Singapore, in London, and elsewhere.
So, Congressman, you and I have had this conversation over the years about this. You previously expressed concerns, right, about diverting diesel traffic from Manhattan to the Bronx. So what sort of work, I guess, went into behind the scenes that ultimately allowed you to then fully get on board?
So the congestion pricing plan includes about $155 million in investments in environmental justice communities, particularly in the Bronx, about $20 million for clean trucks, $20 million for EV charging stations, $15 million to replace refrigerated truck units. Refrigerated truck units have the dirtiest fossil fuels, and replacing them could cut particulate matter pollution by as much as 90% in the Hunts Point area. So the governor's plan has made every effort to address the original concerns that I had. And it shows that there need not be a conflict between congestion pricing and environmental justice. We can have both. Okay.
And so there are a lot of things that went into the decision making here, right? The plan, though, is more than just a toll. Aside from it, I guess, which initiatives are you excited the most about?
Look, for me, it's going to save public transit. The MTA is the most vital institution in our city. I mean, even if you're not a user of public transportation, we all benefit from the economic growth that public transportation enables. And the MTA is chronically underfunded. It is struggling to recover from the devastating impact of COVID. And we need to create a sustainable, stable funding stream for public transit. The governor's congestion pricing plan will generate about $1 billion annually, which we can leverage to make $15 billion worth of capital improvements for public transit.
Congressman, I'm about to hear from a counterpart of yours over in New Jersey. Some New Jersey lawmakers not at all happy about this, right? Who are saying it's not fair to put that toll to fund the MTA on them. It's going to hurt lower and middle class families. So what do you say to someone who is just trying to go to work, make a living in a very expensive city as it is?
Well, most New Yorkers are users of public transportation. And New Jersey, the suburbs, all benefit from the economic growth that is brought on by the public transit system. But again, if there are forces of opposition, if there are people who oppose and obstruct congestion pricing, then I would encourage them to offer a viable alternative for addressing the multi-billion-dollar capital need of the MTA, which again is critical to the life of our city.
Do you believe there should be, I guess, maybe some exemptions? It's still on the table. It's still being discussed. Exemptions for overnight shift workers when there's really not a congestion issue. Are those things on the table for you and folks in your own district who are saying, hey, can I be exempt because I already live in New York?
I'm going to leave it's something I'm going to examine more closely, but obviously every constituency wants an exemption.
Yeah.
But we have to ensure that we're generating the revenue that we need to modernize our public transit system, which has been suffering from decades of disinvestment and deferred maintenance.
All right. Congressman Torres, I'm giving you and your counterpart Gottheimer the same amount of time, so we're going to leave it there. There's so much I want to talk to you about, so we'll have you back soon. But we did invite you on for congestion pricing. We're going to leave it there. Have a happy and safe 4th of July, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Congressman. Well, let's hear from one of the strongest opponents of congestion pricing, New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer, who is now joining me to discuss this. So, Congressman, good to see you.
Nice to see you, too. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with one of the things that the congressman just said, right? If you are so opposed to it, what's a viable solution?
Listen, I think New York has to do, first and foremost, clean up their MTA system, right? Because that's what Ritchie Torres was talking about, and he's a good friend of mine. He's saying he needs help for the MTA. When the MTA is so mismanaged to the point where last year they lost $700 million to fare skippers, people who literally jumped the turnstile, what I'd suggest to them is first clean up your own mess, don't look to New Jersey and the outer boroughs to take care of your problems. And, Jersey's not their piggy bank. So this is not the answer. And certainly we shouldn't propose something that they've done here, which is actually going to lead to more pollution and more congestion and hurt a lot of hardworking families and commuters who can't afford another $5,000 a year or $23 a day, as they proposed, to drive into New York on top of what they pay already to go over the bridge or through the tunnels.
You bring up the pollution and the whole environmental impact, right? There was a study on that said it won't.
No, so in the MTA's submission to the federal government, to the Department of Transportation, they pointed out several areas where there'll be an increase of pollution, right? So which is why, by the way, including the Bronx, the outer boroughs, and northern New Jersey, right? Which is why the governor has given and committed to Ritchie Torres and to the Bronx $155 million for environmental mitigation. You don't give money for environmental to reduce pollution unless there's a problem, including $25 million for a new asthma center.
Right.
So, as Ritchie said, the governor, recognizing there's going to be more pollution, said, okay, we'll address that in the outer borough because there'll be a lot more trucks going to northern New Jersey and the outer boroughs and avoiding this congestion zone in New York, right? They're going to go around the congestion zone. So they're paying off the Bronx and giving them money for environmental remediation. And Jersey gets not a nickel from any of this, right? All we're doing is paying $23 a day for our hardworking commuters, our nurses, our construction workers, our restaurant workers are suddenly have to pay $23 more on top of the tolls that they're already paying, and zero is going to New Jersey.
Okay, so let's talk, hold on one second, because I want to just talk about that for a second, because there's the idea of exemptions, right? If there is an exemption for folks in New Jersey, are you for it, or does the environment still play a factor?
If New Jersey commuters have to pay not a penny more, right? If nothing's going to go up, they're not going to pay a penny more. That's a great start of the conversation, right? Because for me, I just don't want our folks to have to pay more money. But on top of that, you have to address the environmental impact this is going to have on families. You're going to move based on their own plans, you're going to move a lot of trucks to the GW Bridge, a lot more trucks into the outer boroughs, huge plumes of pollution, including carcinogens like formaldehyde, that they admit in the MTA's own report admits to all this.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a lot more backup of cars at the Lincoln and the Holland. So this is a real challenge that we've got to deal with. No one wants to, the New York doesn't want to talk about it. They just want it's just a cash grab for them. They just need the cash. They just want the money because they're it's such a mess. They run $2 billion a year deficits right now. They're losing so much money to the MTA. I'd say, hey, clean up your shop, man. Don't look to Jersey to fix your problems. We don't look to you to fix our problems.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I want to give you guys equal time. And so what comes next then, right? If it seems to be moving forward, right? The governor has talked about legal options, hired some law firms to kind of look into it. What does legal action look like here?
Well, I think the governor of New Jersey is going to take solid, concrete legal action, as he said. I mean, legal action is when you have an environmental impact, a disparate impact on families, which, by the way, this will have pollution on families and children in northern New Jersey by the MTA's own admission. You have to look at that. We can't have people affected. And listen, again, Ritchie got money for New York from the governor to help his families in the Bronx do environmental remediation and address that. New Jersey left out. Our children, our families are going to have to breathe in all this extra pollution. So I think that's part of the basis for a lawsuit. And obviously we've got legislation, bipartisan legislation, federally in Congress to defund the MTA if they insist on going ahead with this cash grab.
Understood. We're going to leave it there. I appreciate your time as well to get both sides of this issue. Have a happy and safe 4th of July to you as well, Congressman. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much. Good to see you, and always good to see Ritchie.
There you go. There you go. All right, everybody.